All right, welcome everybody. This is your daily dose of awesome, your life, 15 minutes of daily motivation, inspiration, and education, so you can get your day started right. I am back. So it's been quite a few 10 days as I've been on travel. I went to our Fast Track to Freedom Mastermind in Orlando. Had an incredible time with our mentorship students there in the Aloft Hotel in Orlando. Had a lot of fun, did a lot of work. Had many breakthroughs with all our students. I had my own breakthroughs. It was pretty awesome. And then from there, we actually had our company meeting. So following the workshop, we had our company meeting for Elite Marketing Pro, and worked on some pretty big things. Literally every single team member, except for one, I believe, was there in Orlando with us, locked in a room, and we worked on our business as well. And then we had a little fun. We also went to Epcot Center, spent a day there. At the Food and Wine Festival, which if those two words tell you anything, it means we had a ton of fun. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Ferny Ceballos, and what I'm going to share with you is directly from the rich dad himself. I'm back after I went to Orlando. I flew to Austin for a 3-day intensive mastermind with 14 different entrepreneurs in various industries. None of them, except one, do business with internet marketing or do business online. And that mastermind was led by Keith Cunningham, the actual rich dad. So Robert Kiyosaki's mentor to Tony Robbins, mentor to many others, literally thousands of people that he's impacted and mentored. His net worth is upwards of hundreds of millions of dollars. And so he was leading this mastermind, and I got some incredible nuggets and breakthroughs for myself in my business, and I'll be sharing a lot of that with you guys as the weeks go on, as I kind of just try to make sense of it all and try to organize that content. Of course, giving him credit for the breakthroughs I've had. I've been through a lot of events over the past years in my career, and it has been a long time. I've been to a lot of events recently, and it has been a long time since I personally took ravenous notes at any event. Most of the time I kind of just sit there and absorb it, but this was too good to just pass up. And today I want to share with you one of the huge shares that Keith gave us, and that was about something we're all familiar with, the Cashflow Quadrant. A lot of us are probably familiar with Robert Kiyosaki's Cashflow Quadrant, but that was actually, the Cashflow Quadrant didn't originate with Robert. It actually originated with Keith Cunningham. So Keith taught this to Robert, and then Robert put a spin on it, which Keith has never been too comfortable with. And so he wanted at this mastermind, he actually taught it the way he intended it to be taught. And so that's what I'm going to do here today. I actually asked Keith permission if I can teach the corrected version of the Cashflow Quadrant that he promotes. And he gave me full permission. And so that's what I'm going to do here for you guys. Now, if you don't know me, my name is Ferny Ceballos. I'm a lead generation and online marketing expert specializing in helping home business owners, that's network marketers, affiliate marketers, direct sellers, multiply their incomes using the internet. Now, I built my first 6-figure business in network marketing using the strategies we teach here at Elite Marketing Pro. And over the past 10 years, I've been responsible for over $11 million in gross income into my home businesses, and hundreds of millions of dollars more in the incomes of our clients and students over the past 10 years. So this stuff works, and what I'm going to share with you has less to do with internet marketing and online recruiting strategies, but it's still insanely valuable. But I also want to let you guys know that we are going to be doing a special Monday Mojo, because we're going to be launching a new training on social media recruiting. So I'll talk a little bit about that in the end, because it actually relates directly to the Cashflow Quadrant and what category you want to be. And so a little hint. If you're in network marketing and that's all you have and you've done no branding, you're not in the B quadrant. So anyway, if you're new to our training, I highly recommend you subscribe to our Facebook Lives that we do every single day, Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. What you can do is if you're on mobile, on the top right corner of your video, you can click there on your mobile device, and it'll open up an ellipsis symbol, and you can click on that. A menu will pop up. You can like our fan page, and also choose to turn on notifications. What that's going to do is it's going to just send you a little ping on your phone every time we go live, so you can either join us live for every training that we do with not only myself, but leaders in the network marketing and internet marketing space. and you can subscribe to those notifications. I highly recommend you do that. That'll unlock all previous training that we have publicly posted on our Facebook fan page, in addition to keeping you in the loop for anything in the future that we do, which will be insanely valuable. I guarantee it. If you're on desktop, all you need to do is above the description, click on our logo. That'll take you to our fan page. You can like our fan page on that same button where you liked it. There's a pull-down menu where you can also turn on notifications. Specifically, you want to turn on notifications for videos and live posts. So that being said, let's get right into this content. I've been having a little trouble with my phone trying to open up our EMP fan page. So let me see if I can do it now. Okay, it seems to be working now. I want to see if we are live. Oh, there we go. All right, sweet. Yes, Yoda. Yes, Yoda is back. So, again, I just came back from a mastermind. Literally spent 3 days. The official mastermind was 3 days locked in a room. It's called the Chairman's Council, and the way the mastermind with Keith Cunningham works is, of course, he's leading it. He is Yoda of all entrepreneurs, sitting at the head of the table. But there's no head because it's a round table. So it's a round table like a boardroom, and in this boardroom table, we have all these different entrepreneurs in various industries. We have people in the insurance industry. One person, has a company in the insurance company worth over $150 million. He actually is a master marketer. He actually taps into dozens of different marketing channels all at once for his company, which is how he's able to get to $150 million in valuation for his insurance company. So that insurance company, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, in the United Kingdom. We had people in pharmaceutical industry. We had people there that were selling probiotics online. We had people there that owned dentistry. Basically were dentists, owned multiple locations for dentistry. People there that own schools, so charter schools, and also universities. There was a president of a university there as well. So mega entrepreneurs, and I'm like the internet marketing guy with my little home business, sitting there at this table. And so, and it's called the Chairman's Council, is because when we present about our business, our strengths, our weaknesses, our challenges, the good, the bad, the ugly. Everyone there gets to give you feedback on your business as they see it. So our presentation is very detailed. We actually submit reports with everything we're currently doing in our business, not only what we do, but how we do it. Our financials, we literally expose everything. So it's a highly private place. We have to have confidentiality. So because we're really looking at other people's businesses in great detail. And again, sometimes those businesses aren't doing so well. So anyway, we basically we tapped into each other, and I got some incredible feedback during my 2-hour session of presenting and just getting hammered. Basically, they tear your business apart, put it back together, and go do good things. And we're going to be doing this 2 more times over the next year. So it was awesome. It was a life-changing experience, and so that's what happened. And throughout it all, Keith is not only himself giving you feedback, but Keith Cunningham, that is, he's also interjecting lessons. And so at some point on the 3rd day, he talked about the Cashflow Quadrant as he taught it to Robert Kiyosaki many moons ago. But he had a twist to it. I didn't know this, but Robert taught the Cashflow Quadrant in a way that Keith wasn't too comfortable with. But I mean, obviously it worked for Robert, and he became huge. But it was an opportunity for him to actually kind of correct or make a little bit of a correction on his philosophy as it relates to the Cashflow Quadrant. And so that's what I'm going to do here today. Let me get my notes here real quick. So just a quick story, because we probably will go a little over, but I want to make sure I get everything. So a quick story. So how did Robert become who he is? It's pretty simple. So Keith, taught Robert over a few years, and taught some seminars that Robert attended. Robert, I think, got permission to teach some of Keith's content, and Keith said, "Sure, go ahead." And that was basically the inception of Rich Dad Poor Dad. And Rich Dad Poor Dad was initially self-published, and It was actually, he had nowhere to distribute it. So Keith had a bunch of car washes that he owned. He owned tons of businesses, and so this type of business, he owned a car wash, and he asked Keith. Robert asked Keith if he can put the books on display at the car wash, and Keith's like, I don't know, no one's gonna buy it, and we don't have any books. And Robert's like, exactly, no competition. He's like, okay, whatever. So the books were on display for about 2 weeks, and then and no one bought any of them until one day this Amway distributor walked into the car wash. I guess he was a pretty high up Amway guy, and he saw the book, bought a copy, read it, thought it was great. Immediately gave it to Dexter Yeager, who's the biggest guy in Amway at the time. I think he probably still is. Gives it to Dexter Yeager. Dexter Yeager reads it. He loves it. Calls Robert, orders 300,000 copies of Rich Dad Poor Dad for his online distributors, and that's how Rich Dad became the phenomenon that it is today. So that's the story as it relates to how Rich Dad Poor Dad came to be and how it got its boost. It was literally out of one of Keith Cunningham's car washes. And so that's a lot of, obviously, a lot of this content it's distilled. When you learn something, you kind of give it your own spin on it, and Robert gave his own spin on it. And so there's this quote that Keith Cunningham taught us, and I want to actually show my screen right now and show you like literally my notes on how the cash flow quadrant is supposed to be. But there's a quote here at the bottom that you guys will want to see. Is this it's Keith's quote: "The genius of and versus the tyranny of or." So the genius of and versus the tyranny of or, and so that's an important thing to note. And I'm going to put this here on the screen. So the tyranny of and. So so this statement has actually a lot of depth to it. The genius of and, meaning always finding a way to get everything that you want, or everything that you need, or that things don't have to be in opposition to each other all the time. The tyranny of or. And so how does this statement in this case apply to the cash flow quadrant? Well, it's quite simple. So if you notice, this looks a lot like the cash flow quadrant because it is. Although Keith never meant it for be categorized as quadrants. He did write the E in the black, the S, the B in the top right, and then the I. So that's correct. And he has there's two lines going across, forming a cross in the middle. Now, what Keith said is this wasn't meant to be a quadrant. This was meant to, the lines weren't there to divide up quadrants. The lines were there to create a plus sign. So the cross in the middle is actually a plus sign, not meant to divide things up or to separate things in that way. So it's a plus sign in the middle. So E plus S plus B plus I. Robert's version of the cash flow quadrant basically created the quadrants because he wanted to create division. So rather than say this is a plus sign, he said this is a quadrant, and E and S are essentially the losers, the people that the place where you don't want to be at. You don't want to be an employee. You don't want to be a self-employed person. You're trading hours for dollars. That's not where you want to be. So he basically categorized that as a bad thing, i.e., you're a loser if you're there. Your goal is to be a winner, so get over here. And so that's essentially the gist of how Robert delivered the cash flow quadrant. Now, as far as marketing goes, it was genius because you create polarization. Either you're going to love the concept or you're going to hate it, and that defines who you are and what you're going to be driven by. I know when I read the cash flow quadrant the first time, it was actually one of my favorite books because it created a philosophical foundation for who I was, and I did not want to be an employee and screw being an employee or having a job, whatever. And so it created an emotional reaction. So from that perspective, it was effective. Now, but when Keith originally taught it, what he actually meant was that all these quadrants work together. All businesses, all Bs, depend on employees. They also sometimes depend on self-employed contractors. The Bs have investors, a lot of the time. So what he wanted to create was not division. Keith wanted to create synergy, which is why the arrows, the green arrows, are kind of connecting all the E, the B, the S, and the I's. They all work together And so all he meant by creating the divisions, the different the B's and the I's, is that being an E and being an S require certain skill sets. You went to school, you acquired certain skill sets, and you're delivering those services either as an employee or as a business owner, as a self-employed person. You're delivering services, and those are the skill sets you need in order to be an B or an S. In order to go into be an E or an S. In order to go to the B and the I, in order to be a B or an I, you have to acquire skill sets. And those skill sets relate to creating leverage and also metrics, tracking, being able to track what you do. So you're not just performing a task, you're performing things in a way that allow you to track so that you can constantly improve and measure. And so that's all he meant. So Keith says, if you want to become a B or if you want to become an I, you have to learn a whole new set of skills that you won't know just being an E or an S. And that's all Keith meant. He didn't mean being a B was a bad thing. He didn't. I mean, being an S was a bad thing or being an E was a bad thing. He meant that you just have to learn a whole new set of skill sets. The other interesting thing that he said was that essentially the wealthiest people in the world are at the same time, throughout the day, throughout their workday, they shift between three different categories. The wealthiest people in the world, and you have Michael Dell. Warren Buffett, Warren Buffett, Steve Jobs when he was alive. The wealthiest people in the world are actually in three of the quadrants at the same time. And so Michael Dell is actually an employee of his own company. He performs certain tasks. He's employed as a CEO of his own company, but he's also a business owner. Obviously, he owns the business or a portion of the business. He's also an investor because he's a shareholder in that and probably has other investments outside of Dell. So he's actually in three categories. And throughout his day, he's either operating as a business owner or he's operating as an employee working on certain tasks. Warren Buffett, the same thing. Warren Buffett is a person that makes the decisions on what to invest in within the company. He's operating as an employee of his own company in that case, but obviously he owns a company. He's an investor in his own company, as well as many other companies, obviously. And you can keep going. Steve Jobs, he was an employee of his own company. He also obviously owned part of the business, and he's an investor. Probably had a lot of other investments, including within Apple stock itself. In probably the only wealthy person alive today that maybe is only a B or an I is Bill Gates, because he chose to retire from Microsoft and let the business go. But prior to that, when he was actually CEO of Microsoft, running Microsoft, he was an E. He was working within the company. He had to go to work every single morning, drive to work, and fill a role where he received a salary as an employee of his own business. So that's the distinction that Keith wanted to make. Now, and so this should help you. It's not as polarizing, but for Keith, he doesn't see being an E or an S as a bad thing. Michael Jordan, when he was rocking in the NBA, was an S for many years. And then he took all the money he made as an S, or a lot of the money he made as an S, and he started a B. He started businesses. He started creating brands and companies. And then he started investing in things. He bought now he owns an NBA team. But Michael started as an S and made a lot of money. There's nothing wrong with being an S or an E, as long as one, it's something you're happy doing, and also you're making a lot of money, so you can eventually move on to acquiring the skills to be either an investor, a business owner, or both, and expand your wealth. So many people are still S's, B's, and I's. A lot of athletes, they're S's, B's, and I's if they're smart. If they're not, then S will eventually run out. So when they stop, shooting hoops or stop playing in the NFL, that money runs out, which is why you want to acquire the skills to go into the B and the I. But it's not a bad thing that they're in an S, if that makes sense. So that was Keith's big point. Now, how does this relate to network marketing? I'm going to wrap up here real quick. And this is now my interpretation, my philosophy. You're taught, especially in the Rich Dad books, you're taught that if you're in network marketing and building a network marketing business, that you're building a B type business. And that's not the case, actually. Network marketing is not a B, and that's okay too. I know a lot of people that are making 6, 7 figure incomes in network marketing, but they're still in the S because they're working every day on getting things going. They're traveling, speaking at events, organizing their downline, training their downline. I mean, they are not employees because they're not categorized as that. So what are they? They're self-employed. And if they stop working, chances are their income is going to start going down and eventually disappear. Or if the company shut down, the company terminates his contract because of some conflict, whatever, that income is gone. So that's not what a B looks like. A B, you actually have ownership and control over. Network marketing leaders at the highest levels do not have that level of control over their incomes. Now, that's not a bad thing. That's okay. They're making a lot of money. Making a lot of money is not a bad thing. But if you're in network marketing by itself, without any brand building or anything outside of that business, then you're in an S. You're an S category type entity where you're essentially making a lot of money, but that money can disappear at any point for whatever reason. When you're building a network marketing business using online marketing, that includes lead generation, list building, you're creating your own website, branding yourself, and creating this presence that now you own and control. You have an email list that you own and control and they can email. Now you're in a B. The reason you're a B is because even if your network marketing business goes away, you have your brand, you have your following. You can shift to another business. You can start creating and training on your own, promoting your own products. You can start other businesses under the umbrella of that brand and have that security and control. And your business has a valuation. You can actually sell that business to somebody else, and unless you sell it, no one can take it away from you. That's why building a brand and creating that that leverage for yourself, it creates B. Remember what's here on the screen. One of the skills that you have to acquire in order to move into the B category is leverage. And that's what building online does, and also metrics. And so when you're building your brand and start doing lead generation, advertising on Facebook, building your email list, websites, you're creating sales funnels and product different offers. That's the process that a business owner goes through. And so that's the difference. And again, nothing is wrong with either or. You just have to understand where you're at. If you're in a B, you have full control over your business. If you're an S, you don't have control over your income. For as long as you are allowed to do it, you'll make a lot of money. But at some point, it could be taken away from you. So think of a 6-figure or 7-figure earner in network marketing without any of the online stuff, any of the branding, like an NFL player making a lot of money. And that's totally cool. But if at any point that NFL player breaks their knee or has a knee-ending, career-ending injury, the income's over. And for a networker, if at any point the company chooses to terminate your distributorship because they didn't like something you did, or they get shut down for whatever reason, or something happens in the news that where publicity hurts the business and your income goes down, all of that is the hallmarks of being an S, and that's okay. But you have to acquire some new skill sets if you want to move into the B quadrant. That's it for today, guys. Also, what this relates to as far as what we're going to do in about a half hour, we're going to have a special Monday Mojo here on the Elite Marketing Pro fan page. We're going to broadcast it. We're launching Social Media Recruiter. Social Media Recruiter is going to be a new offer here at Elite Marketing Pro. New training on how to actually recruit using social media. Now, these recruiting strategies are going to help you build your network marketing business as an S. Meaning you don't need the website, you don't need to do list building, you don't need to do none of the tech stuff. You can actually build a very successful network marketing organization as an S with only social media and not needing anything else. And that's what essentially Social Media Recruiter is. It's starting you off and creating massive growth in your business without having to leave home. Rather than build your business through the cold market and going off and prospecting strangers or bugging your friends and family, you leverage social media to create those same type of relationships and grow organization. And so Social Media Recruiter is a training that we're launching. It's a live training, so you can in about a half hour you'll be able to purchase the training for only $97 to start with, and you'll get this training from Julie Burke, who's built an organization of over 8,300 distributors, 80% of whom were recruited using social media. and she personally sponsored over 270 people. This is without having a website or an online presence. She became a very powerful and very profitable S, and now she's actually shifted to becoming a B, because now she's doing all the things that we teach her at Elite Marketing Pro, like building a brand, an email list, etc. So stay tuned for that. Just come back in about a half hour to this fan page, and then you'll learn more about what we're doing with Social Media Recruiter and how it relates to all of you who are affiliates of Elite Marketing Pro. Not only will we be able to get access to the training, we're also using this to raise money for charity, Heifer International. 40% of all proceeds will go to Heifer. 40% will go to our referring affiliates. So we're paying 40% to those of you who wish to refer your friends to this training, in addition to donating a big hunk to charity. So join us here. We will talk soon, guys. Take care, everybody. Have an awesome day. We'll see you tomorrow. It's going to be an awesome week.